too late to start asking questions. And you can make a change in how you relate to people and interact with people at any time. But you have to take that first step sometimes to ask questions and start having conversations, or the first time that you confront your friends when they're saying something that they shouldn't be saying, and that makes your community not a safe space. And that's hard, but taking that first step makes it a little bit easier every time, I think.
Right. Hear people's stories. Hear people's walks of life, their narrative. I promise you, you're gonna learn something, you're gonna connect, and you're gonna grow, and it's gonna move you, and it should move you, right? To make a change, or to say, you know what, you're accepted, right? I mean, I think that's one of the things that we try to, continue to do within the work that we're doing with Beloved Community.
Right, listening to one another. I think that conversation, that hearing, that listening really tears down those walls of the isms, the racism, sexism, ableism, just can tear down those walls. And when you can start connecting with an individual, you say, oh, they're human too, just like me, and that does such a world of good, such a world of good.
And hearing from all walks of life, realizing that differences aren't always seen, right? We're different in multiple ways, whether it's race, socioeconomics, where we come from, also, different learning disabilities or styles of learning, or, within our schools, understanding you may not know what that other person is either battling or walking through, you don't know. But being aware of just listening to their story, listening to who they are.
I think one of the most important things is to experience these things in life. I know for me, one of the things I was really passionate about in high school is learning about homelessness and what that, how that is affecting the world, and realizing that not all homeless people are crazy bad people. Some of them just got stuck in a bad situation. Or you think prison ministry, there's opportunities to go inside prisons, and when you do stuff like that, you realize that not everyone in prison is a horrible person. Some of them just got stuck in a bad situation. And I think that the big thing is experiencing and not being afraid to go on mission trips and go to other countries and go see these people and meet them where they're at, and you begin to develop a heart for those people.
I think one piece when I think about learning, and even for myself, breaking down stigmas I've had in the past and trying to be aware of how was I raised and what are my kind of responses to things kind of based off my upbringing and stuff like that. And I've been reflecting on the church's resource, how to be anti-racist, which is a big question. And really an invitation, I think, that we're all kind of called to. Tino, I was wondering if maybe you could kind of expand on that more.
Yeah, so it's a word that recently just has been used, I think, in the last, 3 to 5 years. And I know it can get kind of, cloudy a bit, because when you hear the anti-racist, what does that truly mean? Because at one point we were using language, well, I'm not racist, right? But I think we need to break these definitions down, right? When we talk about racism, right, we're talking about a race that is superior or that looks at other races as superior, right? And so, yes, you are being anti-racist, you are actively and consciously aware of, okay, that's racist, that's not right, that's hate. But then anti-racist would even push it further to say, but I'm going to do the work to make sure that we break those systems, that narrative down, right? Let me give you an example. A couple years ago, I had a personal experience happen to me where someone had made a racist comment to me about being Mexican and causing trouble. And, in my anger and frustration, I had to leave, right? Because, what does confrontation look like? What does conflict look like in that moment, especially in the church? But I thought about it more and more. I said, I can allow this individual just to keep going, and of course he's going to say I'm sorry, what I said was wrong, which he did. But then what I really wanted to help him do, or I wanted to help him with, was to break down that narrative And you got to call it out, right? Do you believe that? Do you believe all Mexicans are causing trouble? Do you believe that all Mexicans should go back to Mexico and the border, right? Let's break that narrative down and let me educate you and help you to make sure that you don't carry that anywhere else anymore, right? You do it in a loving and gracious way, but you're breaking that down, right? Another example is, and I look back at my high school days back in Oklahoma, we were required to take Oklahoma history in order for us to graduate. And I took Oklahoma history in my senior year. We never learned about the Tulsa race riots. And from Norman, Oklahoma to Tulsa was 2 hours away, right? I didn't learn about the Tulsa race riots until I started getting into my grad work in seminary, which was 5 years ago, right? Yeah, that's racist, right? What we had seen in Tulsa, what we read about, but anti-racist, over 100 years, right? But the anti-racist work would say, okay, this can't happen again. We have to educate. We have to make sure that we're teaching our kids history. We have to make sure that this is what happened, so it doesn't happen again, right? It's breaking down those narratives. It's breaking down those systems. Again, it's challenging. It's courageous work, but it's life-giving work. It's life-giving work.